Hi there, welcome to Cruising with the Stars with me, Debbie Jones. Now, today I've got a super vocalist. He's known as the smoothest man in swing. It is, and he's gorgeous as well, gorgeous, gorgeous voice. Canadian from Montreal. Oh, John Labelle. I love the accent, John.
Thank you, Debbie. I love your accent, to be honest.
Yeah, well, to be honest, people from America seem to like Northern or Liverpool accents. They find it charming.
I do actually find it charming. It's different. It's exotic. To me.
Liverpool exotic.
Yes. I spent all my life dreaming of meeting a beautiful girl from Liverpool. I was a big fan of the Beatles, of course.
Yeah.
And the accent is just, to me, quite charming. So.
I know. Well, funnily enough, it is a great accent. And especially if you're from abroad. And did you marry a Liverpool lady?
I did, in fact.
Yes.
Not too long ago. But
go on, how long ago?
Well, it'll be 2 years in a couple of weeks.
So that's the lovely Jeanette, who's actually, she's watching this at the moment in the studio. How did you and Jeanette meet?
Well, actually, we met because I was working on Queen Mary 2 at the time.
Yes.
I've worked for a few years now with Cunard on the Queens, and I was actually singing my first night on the ship in the ballroom. I was a resident singer. I just signed with the ship.
Yeah.
And Queen Mary 2 has a beautiful ballroom. We have a live orchestra and there's great ballroom dancing. And I'm singing the first notes of the song I chose, and there was this beautiful lady dancing around the room, and that was it. You know.
Isn't that lovely?
That's what happened.
I think you ought to. You can't see, our viewers can't see Jeanette. She's just behind this camera here now, and she's lovely, and she's slim, and she's blonde, and very pretty.
And she's from Liverpool.
Yeah, and from which part of Liverpool, Jeanette? Allerton. She's just done a Les Dawson. Like that, not far from here.
And of course, you know, we were talking about accents, and I find that there are many different nuances to your accents.
Oh, there are.
So
I can only do one end of Liverpool. I can only do the south end of Liverpool. A north end accent is very, very different.
There's some that are very hard to understand.
Yes.
But I think I've done.
I think you're doing very well. Well, you certainly understand it now. Yes. So. When did you ask her out on the ship?
Well, it took a few nights before I finally got up the nerve, and we went to dinner. And the rest is history.
Oh, isn't that lovely? And so, how quickly between seeing her, that vision on the dance floor, was it before you got married? How long did it take?
Oh, it took about. It seemed to be. It took not a lot of time at all.
Yeah.
We were married in September of the same year.
So it's under 8 months, really.
Yes.
Quick workers in Montreal.
Well, maybe not Montreal. Quick workers in Liverpool.
All right. Well, you were born in Montreal.
That's right.
And what was your childhood like? What was Montreal like? I mean, fill me in with things like the weather. What were your summers and your winters like? Because I just don't know.
Well, Montreal is a wonderful place to grow up.
Yeah.
We have 4 seasons. It gets very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter, and we have spring and fall. I'm an only child, so I was spoiled. And Montreal is famous for many different things. The snow is one. We also have a really wonderful jazz festival. The largest international jazz festival in the world is in Montreal. And so I had a chance to see many great acts growing up in Montreal. And I also came from a fairly musical family. My grandfather every Christmas would sing and play guitar. And he was a country western singer, and so my earliest memories are of family get-togethers with people laughing and singing. And
how lovely. And what about your parents? Were either of them particularly gifted with anything musical?
Well, I must say, sadly, my mother is fairly tone deaf. But it didn't stop her from singing me lullabies every night. And I remember her singing all the time, and she just couldn't carry a tune, really, but she loved singing, and so that didn't stop her, and I'm glad that she sang to me all the time. My father is quite a good singer, and he recently started playing guitar, so He's
lovely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a listen to you singing now.
All right.
And this is you singing on board one of the Queens, and here you are.
This is right.
Lady is a Tramp, John Labelle.
She gets hungry for dinner at 8. She loves the theater, but she never comes late. She'd never bother with anyone she'd hate, and that's why this lady is a tramp. She doesn't like dice games with barons and earls, won't go to Harlem dressed in ermine and pearls. She won't dish the dirt with the rest of the girls, and that is why this lady is a tramp. She likes the free, fresh, screwy wind in her hair, life without care. She's broke and it's oak, hates California, 'cause it's cold and it's damp. And that's why the lady is a tramp. Hey. She gets far too hungry, babe, to wait down for dinner at 8. She adores the theater, but she never ever gets there late. She never bother with people that she hates, and that is why this lady is a tramp. Doesn't like dice games with barons and earls, never makes the trip up to Harlem driving shiny Lincolns in 4. She won't dish dirt with the rest of the girls, and that's why this lady is a tramp. I like that free, fresh grass growing under my shoes. What can I lose? She's flat, that's that. She's all alone when she lowers her lamp. And that's why the lady, that is why the lady, that's why the lady is a tramp.
There we go, John Labelle. Which ship were you on board then, John?
Queen Mary 2.
Have you got a favourite ship out of the...
Well, I think that I will always have a soft spot for Queen Mary 2, because that was my first ship.
Right.
And of course I met my wife there. Yeah. And it's just a wonderful experience to be on the Queen Mary 2.
Oh, gosh.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so much tradition.
Yeah. Well, so that was your first experience of cruising. How old were you when you actually started singing with intent to make a career out of it?
I would have been in my early 20s. I sang most of my childhood, since the age of 5 or 6. I remember singing along to Rosemary Clooney records and the big band records. Never thought I'd do it for a living. When I got to be about the age of 18, I started a job in a jazz nightclub in Montreal.
So you always knew you wanted to be a singer?
I always knew that I wanted singing as a part of my life.
Yeah.
Never thought that I would actually have a chance to make a living doing it. It was just started out as a hobby.
Yeah.
But my first job, when I was a child, I thought the best job in the world would be to work in a jazz club with live music, and so I was a busboy working at this nightclub called Biddle's Jazz and Ribs.
How were your mum and dad about this? Because with you being an only child, weren't they like a lot of parents would be, I want you to be a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor. Did they support you in your bid for singing fame?
100%. They always said, whatever you want to do, Johnny, you can do it.
Isn't that? And are they still in Montreal?
My father's still in Montreal. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, but my father is still living and working and thriving in Montreal.
How super. So he's still working, your dad?
Well, I mean, working at guitar,
learning how to
he's
play
bowling
guitar.
and doing all kinds of things. He's retired now.
Yeah.
But,
now, what other sort of venues have you sung in, John? What sort of places?
Well, I've worked in many concert situations. I've done the Montreal International Jazz Festival several times.
Yeah.
I worked in many different restaurants and nightclubs in Montreal, across North America. I've toured in China and Asia. I was a resident singer at a hotel in Hong Kong for a few months. I've sung in Shanghai.
Yeah. How did you enjoy living in Hong Kong for a number of months?
Hong Kong was wonderful.
Super,
it's a great city. What's great about it is everyone speaks English.
Yes.
You know, it's easy to get around. The street signs are in English. Yeah. There's a lot of live music. Food is great.
So basically, it's a wonderful place. Well, listen, we're going to take a very quick break,
sure,
and then we'll take a listen to some more of your music in just a few minutes after this. Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm chatting to a wonderful singer, John Labelle. He was born and raised in Montreal, but now spends a lot of his time on Queen Mary 2 or Queen Elizabeth for about the last 2.5 years. So you lead the life of luxury. Do you find it hard to stay away from the food?
Actually,
I have to ask because I would.
Yes, I think I've put on a few stone since I joined the ships.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's quite easy to do.
Yeah, but the trouble is, you see, because you have a lot of free time in your day, you're supposed to go to the fabulous gym that they have there.
Yes, you are.
And work it all off. But I suppose you don't, because no, neither would I.
Well, I like to try. The best thing about being on a ship like that is you have a different port every couple of days, so you can get off and you can walk around and see. But the food is hard to avoid. It's true.
And it's so good. How often do you and Jeanette, your wife, who is now working on the other ship as a social hostess, how often do you manage to see each other?
Well, not as often as we'd like. Currently, I'm in Liverpool. I left Queen Elizabeth about 2 months ago to take a break.
Yeah.
And work on a new show. So we've had a chance, and Janet is also off for the time being on a leave. So in some ways, I like to joke with my wife, we get to spend more time together than most couples do.
Yeah.
Because most couples work all the time 9 to 5, and so we go periods of time where we don't see each other, but when we have a chance to be off together, we're together all the time. So 24 hours a day. And
it keeps the fire and the flickering flame of romance going,
I do believe that absence does make the heart grow fonder.
I think you're right.
It's nothing better than knowing you're going to see the person you love in a few days, and you're excited.
All excited about it. Oh, how nice. Well, we're going to take a listen to you again now. Here he is, John Labelle and Blue World.
It's a blue world without you. It's a blue world alone. My days and nights, they once were filled with heaven. And with you away, how empty they have grown. It's a blue world from now on. Such a through world for me. The sea, the sky, my heart and I, we're all an indigo hue. Without you, it's a blue world. My days and nights, they once were filled with heaven. With you away, how empty they have grown. The sea, the sky, my heart and I, we're all an indigo hue. Without you, it's a blue world.
Oh, lovely. John Labelle there. That was really good. You make it look so effortless when you sing. Is that part of the secret of that sort of swing singing?
I think so. Part of it looks effortless, but that's the secret. You're right. But you have to do it a lot. The more you do something, the easier it becomes.
It is.
So it looks effortless, but you know, your brain never stops. When I'm out there, it's you know, looking around, making sure everything's going well.
Making sure nobody's looking at you like that.
No, you're always very in tune to what's going on around you. You want to pick up on the vibe of the audience and make sure that you're looking in the right direction. Is there someone smiling and looking particularly happy to be there? You want to pay attention to them. So you're always looking to try and improve your
But it's funny,
performance.
I was talking about this with another guest, Gary Williams, and he's a swing singer. He's very good, like your good self. And he was saying that you actually forget how much you know because your talent and your profession, you've done it and honed it for so many years that to you it's natural. But to somebody else starting out, it's a lot more difficult.
Well, that sounds a lot like he was describing muscle memory, sort of.
Yes.
I remember one particular performance. I was doing a jazz, well, it was a classical concert venue in Lanaudière in northern Quebec. They do it's a very famous classical music festival. And they always have a few acts, a jazz act to spice things up. And I was working with the Montreal Jazz Big Band. And I was going on next. And as I'm walking out on stage, I realized that I forgot what song was next. Believe it or not. And and I had no way to I was so far away from the director, I couldn't see.
Anyone.
But of course, so I went out saying, okay, whatever happens is going to happen. And of course, once the orchestra started the intro,
you pick up.
But here's the thing that was strange, is that I started singing, and I was halfway through the first chorus when I realized, oh, so I'm singing the right song here.
Yeah.
Because I just went into it, you know, and it was only halfway through that I realized, okay, I'm singing the right one, and it was Ladies of Tramp. So.
All right.
I'll always remember that.
But it's a bit of a hard one to forget.
But it is muscle memory.
It is muscle memory,
at some point,
right.
you know.
Well, we're going to play another one now. We're going to take a listen to you singing another lovely one. Not This Time with John Labelle.
I could ask you to stay, but I won't. I could want one more day, but I don't. I could say there's a way, but I won't. Not this time. Not this time. I could say we still might, but I won't. I could want a big fight, but I don't. Could say we still might, but we won't. Not this time. No, not this time. And don't say you'll call, because I know you won't. Don't you say you'll write, it's best if you don't. Let's just say goodbye and let me get a head start, picking up the pieces to my breaking heart. I could say I won't cry, and I won't. I could want us to lie, but I don't. We could skip the goodbye, but we won't. Not this time. Don't you say you'll call, because I know you won't. Don't say you'll write, it's best if you don't. Let's just say goodbye and let me get a head start, picking up the pieces to my breaking heart. Could say I won't cry, could watch you lie, but I don't. We could skip the goodbye, but we won't. Not this time. Not this time. Not this time. Thank you.
John Labelle there with a song he composed, a song he wrote himself, not this time. You're a very accomplished writer. What makes you write? Do you suddenly get something happens in your life and you write about it, or do you wake up at 3 in the morning?
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
It's life experiences that give you things to write about.
Yeah.
If you have nothing to write about, you won't write something. And also, I find I like to sit at the piano a lot, and so you improvise and you think about things, and all of a sudden something pops up.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you've written something, it's kind of like you wonder if you really wrote that or you just discovered it.
Yes.
It was out there.
Yeah. So. Or have you ever? I wrote a song once, and I thought, I'm sure I've nicked part of that off someone, because you know when there's a song that someone's played to you and it's decades earlier but it's never got out there into the ether, and you think, did I pinch his chorus or what?
Something Picasso once said something about art is the ability to steal from others without them knowing it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that. So, have you released an album of your own work at all?
Well, I have 6 out. One of them is all original music, several albums with small jazz trios.
Yeah.
One is with a big band, something called Don't Say No. And recently this year we put something out on with an orchestra called the North American Jazz Alliance on Challenge Records that hit the top 10 in the jazz charts.
Whoa.
The record's called the Montreal Sessions.
Oh,
and so that's out now.
Yeah. And is this something that, now I wouldn't know now because I'm sort of a bit out of touch with the cabaret side of things. Do you sell all these albums on board the ships when you're on board? Is it a good, valuable part of your life, of your professional life, selling your albums?
Absolutely. It's great to have albums to sell while, you finish a show, you're on stage, people want to get a souvenir.
Well, it's a memory of a happy night,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
that's right.
Oh,
I've sold more records, more albums on doing gigs than I have sold in record stores, in most cases.
Well done. Well, we'll be hearing more from John in 5 minutes. Hi, welcome back. I'm chatting to singer John Labelle. John, I believe you've met Tony Bennett, and also you've performed for George Bush Sr. How did these both come about? Well,
meeting Tony Bennett had to do with the fact that in 1998, I think it was 1999, Tony Bennett was a guest at the Montreal International Jazz Festival, and so the local television station called CTV called me up and asked me if I'd like to be part of a press conference that Tony was giving, and so they gave me an actual press pass, and so I got invited to the press conference, and I was allowed to ask a few questions of Tony, which was quite exciting.
What did you ask him? What did you want to know?
I wanted to know what it was like to perform in front of large audiences, and what it felt like to be able to do that consistently. And he was quite nice. And I also had a question about a record that was one of my favorites that he did with a really kind of an obscure jazz pianist called Bill Evans. And so I asked a question about working with this particular jazz artist. And, and then afterwards, after the press conference, I got a chance to get to meet him one-on-one, and in the room was Diana Krall, and so it was great. And I got a chance to give Tony a copy of my CD that I had out at the time. Yeah. So that was great. And I was told that a couple hours later, someone ran into Tony having dinner in the local restaurant, and they saw he was still holding my CD. So,
that's good.
That was quite nice.
Hadn't turned it into a flower pot yet.
Not yet. So I took heart in that. So,
yeah, that's super.
But Tony's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah. So. Oh, I love Tony Bennett. He's super.
Yeah.
We're going to take a listen to one of my favourite songs now. Okay. Here you are now, singing "Bad Bad," Leroy Brown.
at the end of the bar with a girl named Doris, and man, she's sure nice. But he played his icebox. That's where that big sheet began. And old feet on ground, he learned a lesson of testing with a white hotel smack. Then he's back, we run round. Now this guy will all downtown. He's back, junkyard dog.
Very good, very good. You thumped with your mic a demisecond too soon there. You went doc.
anxious to get to the bar.
What is your tipple, John, if you have a slurp?
A pint of lager is fine.
Is that it?
Johnny Walker Scotch.
Oh, right, yeah.
At the same time.
Red Label?
Black Label, of course.
Black Label.
Yes.
Now, I was asking you about actually performing for George Bush Sr.
Well, actually, I had a chance about 8 or 9 years ago. One of the richest men in Canada, Mr. Paul Desmarais, who was a publishing mogul.
Yeah.
He had his 75th birthday party.
Yeah.
And so we were invited to perform with the symphony orchestra, a large big band with strings. And among the guests were people like George Bush, Barbara Walters, Prime Minister of Canada at the time. So it's interesting to be performing at a cocktail party or like a big sit-down dinner, and you look up and there's George Bush Sr. dancing.
Let's be blunt. How do you get a gig like that? How did it happen?
Well, I happen to be someone who is working a lot in Montreal. I have a lot of different connections with different people. I've done many weddings and corporate events. And the gentleman who was actually given the contract to hire all of the orchestra, piano player, John Gilbert, at the time was a personal piano player or tutor of Mr. Desmarais' wife.
Oh,
so when they had the party, asked John, and John called all the people, the best acts in Montreal and across Canada at the time. So I got a chance to be a part of that.
How super! And it's funny. I mean, you have done so amazingly well with your career. And I asked you about Tony Bennett, and you said your question to Tony Bennett was, "What's it like to consistently play in front of such large audiences?" Yet you sang in front of an audience of 100,000 people at the Montreal International Jazz Festival. I put it to you, sir. What did you find it like?
Well, it was quite a night, and it was prophetic because a few years later, that was after I asked Tony that question, I had a chance. I was doing a show called The Crooners, and we did a television taping that afternoon, and we had an outdoor concert in the major stage. Montreal Jazz Festival has a lot of free concerts that are kind of parties for, you know, at that particular night, we were on the main stage, a Friday night. The show was at 10 o'clock, and there was 100,000 people in the audience. You walk out on stage, and then you realize 100,000 people are watching you and expecting you to do something special. And it's quite a high. I've had no experience like it since. That first time was something special. And you go out and you start singing, and they're all listening. And then when you finish, it's not just a little bit of applause that happens. It's a wall of sound that comes back at you. And
well, listen, we're going to take a listen to you singing now. New York, New York.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes, they'll line astray right through the very heart of it, in old New York. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep, to find out king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues start melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it. It'll New York, if I can make come through New York, New
That was great. We cut you off in your prime a bit there, but never mind. That was on the Queen Elizabeth?
That's correct.
And what sort of audience was there?
Well, you can fit about 1,000 people in the theater there. Quite 2 levels, so it's really a beautiful theater.
It looks like a very, very big floor to cover as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
You walk out. Well, it's set up for dance shows and production numbers. So when you walk out there, and if you don't actually have dancers with you, you
have to move about a lot.
Yeah, you can move about.
Well, listen, that was super. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the final part of the show with John Labelle after this. Now, John, with us here, you are rehearsing a new show, aren't you? Tell us what's the new show called, and what'll the content be?
Well, the new show is called The Vegas Crooners, and we are, in my experience on the ships, I got a little bit an understanding of what kind of shows people like to see, and it's a kind of show I would like to see. So we put together some of the great Vegas acts, from Barry Manilow to Engelbert.
Oh, great! So not just crooners.
Oh no, as far as I'm concerned, a crooner can be a lot of different things. But there's an Elvis number. We're doing some Dean Martin. Some Frank Sinatra, Barry Manilow, as I mentioned, Engelbert.
Which Barry Manilow one are you doing?
Copacabana, of course.
Oh, I like that.
So that's a great, great song, and we're doing things like Quando Quando, Engelbert, and 1 or 2 things that people may not have heard before in that kind of show. But that's what we're working on now, and that's what I want to try and bring to the audiences right now. So. Oh,
sounds great. I'll tell you which Barry Manilow one I like. Weekend in New England, is it?
That's a great song.
Last night. Oh, it's lovely, that one.
Yeah.
That's one of those big buildy-uppy ones. You want to get yourself a couple of girly dancers to
that's already figured out. We've got that.
So you're having some dancers, because for the Coco Cabana, they've got to have the Carmen Miranda hats and the lot.
Of course.
Now, tell me as well about, you did a television show, Cool Jazz TV. Was that over here or in Montreal?
That was in Montreal. I had a show at the time called The Crooners, and this was a show that was broadcast across North America for something called Cool Jazz. That's the cable station, and it was a great experience. I got a chance to perform a lot of my original stuff. And
did you get a bit of a fan base, a following with that?
Oh yeah, people all the time mentioning they saw that show, and it was a big stepping stone to get to a lot of other things as well. It was great.
It's smashing actually, because you were saying, with you being an artiste, and Jeanette, your wife, now working on board the ships, when you're home you have this programme on a lot. I was very flattered. I thought, the mad fool.
Well, it's a great show, and there's no other show I'd rather come on here. So,
it's really, really good to have you on. We're going to take a listen to your final song now, and this is called Close Your Eyes, but do keep them open, really.
Rest your head on my shoulder and sleep. Close your eyes, and I will close mine. Close your eyes. Let's pretend that we're both counting sheep. Close your eyes. This is divine. Music play, something dreamy for dancing while we're here romancing. It's love's holiday, and love will be our guide. Close your eyes. When you open them, dear, I'll be near by your side. So won't you close your eyes? close your eyes, and I will close mine. Close your eyes. Let's pretend that we're both counting sheep. Close your eyes. This is divine. Music play, something dreamy for dancing while we're here romancing. It's love's holiday, and love will be our guide. Close your eyes. When you open them, dear, I'll be near by your side. Oh, won't you close your eyes? So won't you close your eyes? Oh, won't you close your eyes?
That was good, wasn't it? Close your eyes. That was lovely. Now, that was a rehearsal in Montreal.
A rehearsal for the album we have out right now. So
Yeah.
It combines musicians from Montreal and New York.
Yeah.
And it's called.
And what, if people want copies of any of your music, how do they get it?
Well, the best way right now is to visit my website, johnlabelle.com, and you got a link and links to a page. You can download the music for free, or you can purchase a copy. So it's all available. So.
That's very good. Stick his name underneath there at the bottom, if you will, Dan, so that we can see your name and how it's spelt for anyone that's wanted. There you go, John Labelle, Labelle.
Right.
So there you go, gratuitous plug, John.
Yes.
You like his music and his voice, beautiful, smooth music you do. It's fab. That's how you get your hands on it. Now, with you spending so much time at sea, what is it that you most enjoy about life at sea?
Well, the best part about being on a ship at sea is that you wake up in a different port every couple of days. So if you didn't enjoy one place, go to sleep and you wake up somewhere new, and it's a brand new life. The other thing is, if you happen to be at sea, you get up, you have a nice breakfast, walk out on deck. You've got fresh air, and you've got hundreds of things to choose from every day. The food is wonderful. There's always entertainment. Walk on the deck. You always got someone you can find to sit and have a chat with. You meet people from all over the world. I've seen, I've been to Cape Town. I've been to Rio. Didn't have to work very hard. Just wake up and you're in Rio. Wake up and you're in Cape Town or Hawaii. And that's what I find is the best part of being on a ship.
The variety.
The variety is a big part, and also the fact that you don't have to commute to get to work.
No, it's fab, isn't it?
And you don't have to worry about getting home.
And for you as well, being resident on it, I mean, that's just the most wonderful, wonderful gig that you could ever get. Have you got a favourite port of call? Which is your favourite port of call?
Well, my favourite port of call historically was Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's just a beautiful place. It's gorgeous. Cape Town's a close second. And actually, I'm lying. My favourite port of call is Liverpool.
You slipped that in there, John Labelle.
I was able to come in on Queen Mary 2, meet my wife, get off, get married, get back on the ship. And it was all right here.
Isn't that lovely?
So it's a beautiful port. It actually is one of the prettiest ports I've ever seen as well.
It is a lovely port.
Coming in is...
Liverpool is beautiful. I'm very proud, and I love being a Liverpudlian. I think it's fab. Where did you get married? Did you get married on the ship?
We didn't get married on the ship. We had planned to get off and take a little walk to the Cotton Exchange.
Right.
So we did it quickly in the afternoon there, had a reception. Right. And then we're able to get back on the ship for our reception and our supper on the ship. Oh. And we had the Beatles perform at our wedding.
Oh, how fabulous. I have to ask you, just tell me very quickly, where did you have your reception in Liverpool?
Well, on the ship.
On the ship?
We went from the cotton exchange, went back onto the ship,
and
had cocktails, and had supper in the grills.
Yeah.
One of the big restaurants called Britannia, we had supper there. And then the city was nice enough to provide fireworks.
Oh, God, isn't that fun?
So we were on the ship for most of the
do you know what, Jeanette, you're a spoilt brat. She's sitting behind that camera going, like muttling. What a romantic... You two have got to stay together forever after a wedding like that. If ever I hear you two are divorced, I'm coming to get you. No, actually, Jeanette, I'm coming to get him. Listen, it's been lovely having you on. Thank you so much. From the wonderful John Labelle and myself, Deb, till next time. Take care. Bye now.
Live.